Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're okay. I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to tackle what I believe is a very dangerous myth and misconception about this war. The misconception that Ukraine is somehow responsible for this war. We hear this echoed very often by Trump, President Trump of the United States, as well as some other leaders or people in various countries. The whole idea of, okay, either that Russia and Ukraine are equally responsible for this war, or that Ukraine is somehow responsible for this war. And I think this does not have any basis in fact, because if you look at the facts, Russia started the full-scale invasion on the 24th of February 2022. It had previously invaded in 2014, seized parts of Ukraine, including Crimea and parts of the Donbas and Lugansk regions, Donetsk and Lugansk regions, oblasts. So I think it's pretty fallacious to claim that Ukraine is somehow responsible for this. When he visited the White House, President Zelensky was told by President Trump, that he was gambling with World War III. I mean, even that's a rather weird statement, since it's Putin himself and Peskov, mostly Putin, Peskov, also to some extent Lavrov, but also Medvedev, who was obviously president in the past. And they often mention nuclear weapons. Medvedev especially likes to threaten other countries with nuclear weapons. On Channel 1, Первый Canal, Soloviev also often likes to threaten other countries with nuclear weapons. So somehow Ukraine is gambling with World War III. But isn't it Russia that's threatening other countries with nuclear annihilation? So that's another thing which I think is rather weird. And every time I hear it, Donald Trump says it, other people say it, it always sounds jarring to me. About Ukraine starting the war, Ukraine is defending itself against Russian aggression. If you remember, when the full-scale invasion started, Russia tried to seize Kiev via Gostomel airport. They also tried various incursions in different parts of the country. Ukraine defended itself. So how is this war Ukraine's fault? It does not make any sense to any impartial observer. I think most people recognize this. Donald Trump doesn't seem to recognize it. And I'm not making this video to criticize Donald Trump. This is not my goal. I don't want to go into partisan politics of the United States. I'm not an American citizen. But when President Trump makes certain statements, you can't help but feel a bit confused, because when things don't make sense, they just don't make sense. And Ukraine did not attack Russia. Ukraine is not striking civilians in Russia, but Russia is. I remind you that just 2-3 days ago, they struck in Sumy, killing 32 people, injuring many others. They struck in Kivnirin in the past. They struck in Borodyanka. They conducted a bunch of war crimes across Ukraine, occupied territories. They struck a theater in Mariupol before it was occupied. They committed war crimes in Bucha, in Irpin, Borodyanka. So, yeah, it's just weird, for any impartial observer, when anybody blames Ukraine for the war. Now, Ukraine has also accepted the ceasefire proposed by the United States, but Russia hasn't. If you notice, Russia keeps playing for time and always talks about these so-called root causes that we will address in the future, I'm sure, in a future video. They talk about these root causes, because, we can't sign a ceasefire until these root causes have been addressed. And one thing that really concerns me as a supporter of Ukraine is that the United States has sent amateurs to negotiate on its behalf. You've sent someone like Steve Witkoff, who, with all respect, is out of his league, completely out of his league, dealing with Sergei Lavrov, who has over 20 years of experience. Remember that Putin has been in power since I believe it was 2001, was it 2001? He was appointed by Boris Yeltsin. Uh, I believe he's been there for about 25 years, and Sergei Lavrov has been foreign minister for a long time as well. So you've sent Steve Witkoff, a property developer in Florida, to negotiate with Sergei Lavrov. I mean, talk about a mismatch, you know? It's like sending a college basketball player to play against LeBron James. I'm not saying Sergei Lavrov is LeBron James, of course, but definitely he has much more experience than Steve Witkoff, and it's clear the way that Steve Witkoff looks at Trump as a puppy would look at its master. You know, he has this slavish look on his face. He says Putin's a nice guy, Putin's a good guy. He said he believes Russia when they say they won't take any other parts of Europe. It's all total nonsense. If you'll excuse my words, it's bullshit. Because facts speak louder than words, and we've seen that Russia has not only invaded Georgia and also Chechnya before that, it's invaded Ukraine, it's invaded Ukraine again. It violated the Minsk 1, Minsk 2 ceasefire agreements. It's not a good faith actor. That we know, and I wish more people would realize it. But yeah, I think that's it for this video. So again, the fallacy, the myth that somehow Russia is responsible for this war. Russia is responsible for this war. That somehow Ukraine is responsible for this war, that it's Ukraine's fault somehow. Absolutely not. I think it's clear to see that Ukraine is well within its rights to defend its own territory. We've seen what happens to Ukrainians on the occupied territories. So Ukraine is literally fighting for its very existence and the existence of its people. And if that's not a just cause to defend your country, then I don't know what is. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you liked this video. I've shot it with a wide screen, so I've turned the mobile phone around. I hope that this will make it more convenient for you, the viewer. I don't like these videos that are narrow, you know. I like widescreen videos, so maybe this will help. I'm still new to this, so please be patient. I will continue to make these videos if they are useful. Excuse me. If they are useful in helping to debunk Russian propaganda. The inspiration to start making these videos is that I'm just sick and tired of Russian propaganda, Russian bullshit about this war. I'm sick and tired of the murder of civilians, war crimes by Russian state, Russian defense forces, well, or we could call them Russian offense forces, more accurately. So that's why I'm making these videos, and I hope that at least I will be able to influence some people, help them to find the truth, to get to the truth. We're always searching for that. I'm always learning every day, and I'm not always right, but I think when it comes to Ukraine, we can clearly and confidently say Ukraine did not start this war. Russia started this war. Russia could end this war. Russia could leave Ukraine to its rightful owners, the Ukrainian people. So that's what Russia should do. We know that it's not going to happen, but we understand that Ukraine has every right to defend its own territory, and I really wish and hope that they are able to do so successfully. Have a great day. Glory to Ukraine. Thanks.